So I think what you do between game one and game two is you analyze all of the things that you can correct and all of the things that you expected to happen that didn't. And now you have to come up with a new game plan.
Our favorite guest, the heartbeat of this whole thing, Steve Peters, longtime NHL video coach, inside the coach's room on YouTube. Look at him. He's all kitted up. He's wearing his hat. He's even wearing his glasses. Hi, Petey.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, and can I be honest, DJ, to start this off? I usually want to be honest with you guys. So I get a text, hey, can you be on tomorrow? What time did you send that? Like, it was later, and I went to bed. So I get up this morning seeing a text, hey, can you be on tomorrow? And tomorrow to me is Friday. And so, yeah, no problem. So I start doing my work, and I look at the clock, and I look at those texts again because you sent another one. And I go, oh, no, this is in 3 minutes. So thus the hat, the unpreparedness. I was not quite prepared. Like, I've seen the game. I'm prepared on talking. I just was thinking Friday. So
that's
I
on us. That's on us. We decided that we were going to have you on like Monday of this week. And then we forgot.
Yeah, chunked it.
But I keep that chaos time frame open all the time. That 12:30 U.S. time, I keep it open.
It's amazing that you make time for us. I'm going to ask you about this first because you were a longtime video coach, and really, teams should be jumping over houses trying to get you as their video coach. But I get it. You don't want to move around, whatever. The Sam Bennett thing. Oilers challenged that goal, and we discussed it for a little bit, where Sam Bennett, in the seconds leading up to it, is kind of like fishing around, trying to like look for skates or anything that could quote unquote trip him into the goalie. He's the best in the world at that, possibly. He's been doing it for years now. Oilers challenge it right away, though, because in the moment we see, who is he tussled up with? It was Kulak who ended up. Is it
Kulak and Wallman? Yeah.
And we see it in real time. We say, wait, Wallman didn't do anything there. They should challenge that. And then on the replay, you see that there was a little Kulak to it. In that moment, how much time do you say, okay, we're going here, and what would you have done?
Here's the problem, and the biggest problem, we're sitting at home watching it with absolutely no stress and pressure. The video guy's in a room with other voices, other people, one, in his ear, and two, he's looking for the replays that are going to help him make this call. And on top of all that, you got 90 seconds. And 90 seconds sitting and watching on TV is an eternity. 90 seconds in the video room is lightning quick. And you've got to find the replay that shows what you want. Here's the deal. Bennett right now creates the whole play, and we're going to tune in later to make sure you see this breakdown, but he causes this whole play to happen long before. As you guys said, he's stumbling in front with Wallman long before the play happens. But what he does by tying up Wallman in front of the net, he doesn't allow Wallman to get the puck. And the puck gets dumped into the corner. This is Edmonton's puck all day long. Like, there's two players closer to the puck. Both Wallman and Kulak are way closer than Tkachuk. Tkachuk's on the other side of the ice. But Tkachuk gets the puck because everybody's focused on Bennett. And that's the kind of things he does. He brings in that attention. Now, the second thing is, there is no doubt Bennett interferes with the goalie. We all see it. The goal goes in because Bennett falls into the goalie, period. So now the video guy's job, it's, yes, there's interference with the goaltender. Now, how is that created? And whose fault is it? Is he pushed in? You're always looking, is he pushed in first? The answer is no, he's not pushed in. So what creates his momentum into the goal? And you watch it, and I've watched this frame by frame. And their feet do collide. Kulak's feet bump with Bennett. There is no question, no doubt. Now, my mind, does Bennett help this and Bennett fall into the goalie? Without a doubt, he falls into the goalie. Could he have stayed on his feet? I think so. I don't see that the disturbance of the foot of Kulak is enough to knock Bennett over into the goalie. I don't. However, if the foot of Kulak does not go into Bennett's foot, Bennett doesn't fall. If Bennett makes that reaction where he falls back into the goalie without the feet touching, it's goalie interference. But because of the contact of the feet, created the fall, that's what created the contact, this goal should stand. Incredibly difficult call for Noah Siegel with the Edmonton Oilers. Incredibly difficult. One of the things that I would use to sway this is the timing of the game. This is 10 minutes in. It makes the game 1-1. Okay, we can battle back. We're tied. We're even. So that's one thing that would say, gosh, unless I'm 100% sure, I can't make this call. Secondarily, you're going into this playoff series with a 66% penalty kill. Buddy, like, if you're running 98, yeah, throw the flag. Like, you're feeling really confident. Right now, you're not confident in your penalty kill. 10 minutes in, with the penalty kill being as bad as it's been, and you're tied 1-1, worst case out of this, I don't make the challenge. And I did pick up the phone because I don't trust myself. And I called other video guys around the league, guys that are in the game right now. And to a man, they said, I wouldn't have made the call. And I'm not knocking Noah Siegel. Like, it's Bennett. Like, you think the referee might say, hey, this is Bennett knocking over the goalie. You might get the benefit of the doubt. But again, it's situational. It's a lot of pressure. I got to give it to Noah Siegel for having the guts to make this call at this time in game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, I mean, that's we were watching it live and we kind of recognized both sides of it. I would have not have wanted to make a decision there.
Yeah. I would have challenged it, and then I didn't realize until once they showed a replay and you saw Kulak, you're like, okay, well, there it is. Like,
right.
Fuck. And that's the difference.
But when did he see that, though, DJ?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It was late. It was late in the process.
It was TSN's fifth replay. Right.
If I'm trying to call that, late. I probably, and this is why I'd be a shitty video coach, I'd also like be on my phone texting. But I would I would watch it and I'd look for Wallman and I'd say, nope, nothing, all good. And then you're probably looking at just Bennett's feet instead, right? Like, you're not just looking for who's he tussling with. You're trying to see absolutely anything. There could be a second hitter, you know?
Yeah, and you don't know which replay is going to be the one that's definitively helping you make this call. And as you watched it on TV, the video guy has access to several cameras that are hardwired. Unfortunately, the one you saw the best was a reverse angle low shot. It was a handheld camera from the other side. You finally see the feet touch. But on the TNT feed, that's the fifth replay. Now you're 60 seconds plus into this now. Like, you're at the point now where, oh my gosh, we've already made the call, or we're nearing making the call, and I haven't seen that replay yet. So for us to see the two best replays of the feet touching came after they said we're throwing the flag. And that's one of the things, keep in mind too. You get what we see at home. Those are the replays. He's got a TNT monitor, he's got a Canadian Sportsnet monitor, and he's got the hardwired cameras. And if they don't show it, he doesn't see it. And so the best replays came after he actually made the call, which again makes this really, really difficult and makes it really easy for us sitting at home on the couch.
We're not doing takeaways from game 1, but are you? Do you have any game 1 takeaways?
You know, you don't. You don't. And you said it last year. Edmonton loses 3-0 in game 1, and you move on. The thing you take away from game 1 is the system plays on all the things you thought were going to happen. Is that what happened? And I think there's some things that you take away. Florida, who chases man on man in the defensive zone, I thought they did a better job of protecting the middle of the ice. So, okay, now I have to go back to the drawing board and adjust for that. I don't think that they were running around in the defensive zone like I was expecting them to do. So that's an adjustment. I think what you pull from game 1 is things that you can adjust. And I think for the Edmonton Oilers, they're going to look long and hard at their penalty kill. I think the goal is them trying to be, everybody wants to be aggressive on the penalty kill. And right now, I don't think the Edmonton Oilers can be aggressive on the penalty kill. I think they got to be more passive. I think you have to let the play come to them and protect the front of the net. So I think what you do between game 1 and game 2 is you analyze all of the things that you can correct and all of the things that you expected to happen that didn't. And now you have to come up with a new game plan. I by no means is either team going, hey, Edmonton's going, we won this thing, and Florida's going, we're out of it. But absolutely not. The margin of error between these two teams is absolutely razor thin. And I think you saw it in the ebb and the flow of the game last night. So no one's leaving this going, oh my gosh, this is lopsided, Edmonton's rolling. I don't think any of us, including you guys, think that's happening.
Oh, okay, Petey. We think that both these teams have gotten better from last year, but the games in the Stanley Cup Final last year, I'm going to give you the scores. 3-0, 4-1, 4-3, 8-1, 5-3, 5-1, 2-1. And there was a tweet from our guy Scott McLaughlin last night that I thought was a pretty good point. Like, last year's final, he says, wound up being very compelling story-wise by the end, but it wasn't exactly filled with great games. Do you think that the games and how close they're played will, or do you think that the games will just be closer than they were last year?
I think the familiarity between the two teams is going to make these things closer. I think last year the difference is Edmonton and Florida, they don't know each other. They don't play often, and you just, I know you're watching the film during the playoffs, but until you get in there and battle them, you don't know what they are. There's no secrets this year. They know McDavid and Draisaitl are driving the bus. Edmonton knows that Bennett, Kachuk, and Verhaeghe, they're all getting to the blue paint and they're going to be a problem. I think that makes these games tighter. So I think the coaching has helped make this a tighter contest. But you do see that the smallest of errors, the smallest puck play is going to make a difference in this series. And I don't know if this series goes on, if it's going to make players more tentative, going, gosh, I really don't want to make a mistake here. I can't turn the puck over here. Or it's going to do the opposite, going, hey, let's just go. Let's just play. I do think we're in for a much tighter series. And I think you're going to see this go long. This is going to be long because Florida, when they get back home, they just have a different swagger. They're going to have different line matchups. They're going to be able to handle McDavid and Draisaitl a little bit better back in Sunrise. So I think we're in for tighter games. Now the caveat to that always is as you mentioned it, how good is Stu Skinner going to be? And how good is Bobrovsky going to be? The goaltenders, if they continue to play as they are playing now, I think we're in for a tight series. But either one falls off a cliff, yeah, you could see those games. You could see the 5-1 games.
Do you think Florida should be scared of the Leon Draisaitl factor? Because last year, didn't score a goal, was deeply hurt, and then game one, he's obviously the hero, scores twice. Like, is that the biggest difference from year to year outside of any additions that have been made roster-wise?
Yeah, I think we always say it. The Edmonton Oilers do as McDavid and Draisaitl do, and that's just reality. And I know they're relying on them less because they have 4 lines that can roll, and they're deeper than they were a year ago, without question. But McDavid was one guy you had to silence a year ago. Now you got to silence 2. And Draisaitl last night, when you go back, and I'm talking the little details, I know you see the goals and his ability to get the puck off his stick quickly and beat the goaltender. Amazing. But it's the little details on him winning the races to the puck or him being able to push a player off the puck that helps create things that happen much later in the play. Those are the differences. And he's a big, strong guy, and he separates players from the puck, and he is going to be a factor in this series without question. When you go back and watch his ability to be in the right place at the right time all the time, that's something that Florida is going to have more than just 97 in their mind. Now it's 97 and 29 and 92. Pod Colson. Well, look at that offensive wizard. I like Pod Colson.
Pod Colson, man. I looked up his hockey DB yesterday. I was like, how many goals did he have again this year? Did he have like 15, like 16? I want to say he had 8.
Yeah.
Like he's just.
At 8.
I feel like that was pretty front loaded.
He's just he's a marker out there.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even mention the Kasperi Kapanen breakaway that would have burned Edmonton to the ground because that place exploded so hard on the breakaway goal. Man, they had a number of opportunities to end it before they actually did last night.
And I think it's one of the things that Edmonton has, again, that this year, the 2 players we just mentioned, Podkolzin and Kasperi Kapanen, are 2 players that show their depth and what they could do. I tell you what, Podkolzin, anyway, I know we joke about him, but on the goal by Arvidsson, go back and watch what he does on that play. He drives through the neutral zone, and then he drives 2 defensemen. Both of the defensemen of the Florida Panthers, takes them out of the way, so Arvidsson has all the room, and then he has the presence of mind to get in front of the goalie as he's skating by. Bobrovsky never sees a shot. Podkolzin makes that goal, period. And the game winner, you talk about Nosek and the grief he's going to take for the rest of his career on that penalty. Why does it happen? Podkolzin. Podkolzin's on the wall on the other side of the ice, and he chases Nosek down, gets his stick near enough to Nosek to panic him. Nosek's got nowhere to go, all because of Podkolzin. So when we're talking about little plays, Podkolzin chasing the puck down in the offensive zone in overtime, creating Nosek to throw the puck away, it's a nothing play. But in this game, because it goes over the glass, it defined the game. And that's what we mean. All these little plays lead up to everything big. And Podkolzin chasing Nosek down ends up being the difference in game 1. And I know it'll get lost in what a great goal that they score on the power play. But that's how tight the series is. And that's how every shift you're out there, you cannot make a mistake. You have to play the right way. And doing that for 60 plus minutes at that pace is nearly impossible.
We talked about going into the series how few exploitable things there were for teams, well, this team is bad at this, and this team is great. Like, pretty much both these teams are really good at everything. Like, the Oilers don't have a good penalty kill, but we know that these people have been good penalty killers before, and they can have one. Is there anything, and not just like from last night, but do you think there is a thing for either of these teams where you say, oh, well, they're going to eat them up on this?
Yeah, and I've said it. I said it before. I think the neutral zone is going to be a big key for this. And the Edmonton Oilers, through the first 3 rounds, scored 21 goals off the rush. Their ability to get through the blue lines quickly and get the puck from their end to the other end of the ice is absolutely amazing. Now you counteract that by being a good rush read team. Well, the problem with Florida and the way Florida defends through the neutral zone is they're extremely aggressive, and they want to close gaps, and they want to be right on top of the opposing player. That's great when you create turnovers. The problem with the speed and skill of the Edmonton Oilers, I'm looking for Edmonton to be able to play behind them. And I'm looking for Edmonton to be able to make the skilled plays at the blue line with Ekblad right up in your face to be able to chip the puck by him. I think that's going to be the biggest advantage for the Edmonton Oilers in this series. For the Florida Panthers, it's about getting to the net. And it's about their ability to drive and get to the blue paint. We talked about it with Bennett and Tkachuk and Verhaeghe. And the list goes on what Florida can do at getting to the net. Edmonton's been great at defending the net front. But their defensemen also drift. And we talked about, Kulak and Bouchard. This is a tougher task than they've had to deal with throughout these playoffs. So the 2 areas for me are the neutral zone for Edmonton, and for Florida, it's getting to the blue paint.
Petey, what do you got coming up today?
I've been working diligently at coming up with a breakdown of every single goal last night and all of these little details that lead up to them. And stunning. Like I'm stunned at how really good players made some really big mistakes that led up to these. And again, that's nerves and that's first game chaos. So that's coming out here in the next couple hours. And then tomorrow I'm going to do a video breakdown on what these teams need to do going into game 2. So it's a lot more video and a lot of details on film. So going through film over the next 2 days, getting ready for
Mistake watch.
Yeah. Speaking of mistake watch, I've seen a lot of discourse about the overtime winner and Leon Draisaitl being left alone there. Give us a little sneak, like who fucked up on that final play?
Well, first of all, you got to give it to McDavid. Like McDavid has played over 30 minutes into the game, and he's far more ice time than any other forward in this game. And he gets the power play drop pass, which just was great speed through the neutral zone, and he comes flying. And that's what starts the whole play. But you're right. We talk about the aggressive penalty kill of the Florida Panthers. That makes a difference. You get Jones up by the blue line. Most teams allow their defensemen go to the dot or the hash mark on the penalty kill, and that's it. Florida lets their guys go. And by letting Jones go, and he goes all the way out to the blue line, that's where things start to break down. He goes way too far on that play. So now once one guy goes, everybody's got to cover up for that mistake. And that's what ultimately leaves Draisaitl all alone in behind. It's because of their aggressive penalty kill of the Florida Panthers leads to that. And it's risk reward. And they're not going to change tomorrow, and they're not going to change for game 3. They're just going to hope that over time, their aggressive play is going to be a benefit and versus what it caused them in game 1.
I'll say, if we're talking about that, shout out Corey Perry. He did not have his finest hour, but I know it probably didn't make like a huge difference that he pulls Mikkola into the corner there when he gives that little behind the back pass to McDavid. But I was rewatching this morning and I was like, God, what an incredible pass. But then I was like, it's also like to McDavid. So if you just kind of put it anywhere near him, he's just going to zip around, and because he's like a bug out there, he's unbelievable. But like, good play from Perry.
Yep. He does a good play from Perry, and he does those little things. The problem, first of all, it's McDavid's pass over Barkov's stick that's world-class elite on the winning goal. The problem with Perry is what you saw in the first period, and it's 2 more offensive zone penalties. Dude can't do it. He just cannot do that. It was a fear coming into the series, and right through the first period, he does it twice. You get worried. So he is going to have to walk the line of being physical, being a pain in the rear end, and getting in front of the net and causing havoc without sitting in the penalty box. He's got to find that fine line.
He did that in game 1 against the Stars. Like, he was a big reason why they lost game 1 against the Stars. Tweeted it last night. If the Oilers get to round 5, you got to scratch him in game 1 and just bring him back. Like, start him in game 2 and go from there. No more game 1s for Corey Perry, even though he helped him win the game last night.
Yeah.
You're the best, Petey.
You got to play on that edge. It's Florida. Thanks, guys. I appreciate having me on, and I'll do better at watching my text and timelines. So
please, we'll do better at booking people properly. Make sure you're subscribed to Inside the Coach's Room on YouTube. It is the best hockey account going, and we are not just saying that. It's fantastic. Thank you, Petey.
We love you.
We all silly like the mayor.